Bear. We've got 5 rounds of a 300-meter run, 15-calorie assault bike for our lady with a 44-foot sled pull, and that sled is going to weigh 153 pounds. We've got an 18-minute cap.
And we'll have the bottom half of the point standings here in heat number 1, but some names that could factor into the points race is there's some athletes that are saying, hey, we need some help from everybody. You might want somebody that actually enjoys the assault bike. That would be Meredith Root in lane number 5. She said it's one of her favorite pieces of equipment. A couple of other powerful athletes, Whitney Yulin in lane 14, Lauren Fisher in lane 15, but you got your eye on China Cho in lane 11.
Well, at 31 years old, out of the West Regional, she's making her 6th Games appearance. She's going to need to rely on that training and her experience to carry her through this event.
Another athlete to watch in this in lane number 8, a home run hitter this weekend, Camilla Solomonson-Hellman.
And she's got a soccer background, and she's going to need those legs and lungs here.
Stand by.
Away we go with the first of 5 rounds. As we mentioned on the men's side of heat number 1, there's a bit of an advantage on the way out for some of the lanes, especially the ones higher up on the south end of the stadium. That advantage disappears when they make their way back in. So early on, it will be a little tough to have a good visual on who is truly out in front. But at the end of it, to be out in front, what are you looking for?
Well, Brandon, one of the things that we talked about was just pacing early and using round 1 as a little bit of a warm-up to get the lungs ready for what they're going to do. But really, what we saw in the men's heat earlier is gradually building up your tempo and using a negative split. What do we mean by negative split? Well, going faster and faster each progressive round. So as think about it like shifting a car, and you're just picking up gears. You're going 3rd gear to 4th gear to 5th gear to 6th gear, and you're trying to pick up speed as you go through.
First woman back into the stadium is Brista Mayfield. She was the first one out. Doesn't appear that there was any big movers on that first run. Most everybody staying in line. First one to the bike will be Mayfield. Root will be second to the bike. I believe it was Whitney Yulin that was 3rd to her bike, but there's a look at Brista Mayfield, former gymnast out of Texas Women's University. Still early on as we go from Games rookie Brista Mayfield. Let's get an update on 10-time Games athlete Rebecca Voigt and go to Mike Arsenault.
Thank you, Brandon. That's right, Becca Voigt with a decade of CrossFit Games experience. So I asked her, has this been your toughest experience at the CrossFit Games? She said without hesitation, no. There's actually been a number of years where she's felt worse on Sunday morning, specifically 2012 at Camp Pendleton when they did the triathlon. She says that triathlon was much worse than the marathon row on Wednesday night. So I asked her, with so many years under her belt, why does she feel as good as she does today? Well, she feels she's a lot more fit and a lot more prepared than she was in years past when the events kind of caught up to her a little bit physically and mentally.
Thank you, Mike. And the test continues to evolve, but the athletes evolve with it, and that's a good show of that. You'll notice on the top of the screen, leader's name highlighted in blue. That currently is China Cho. Everybody else will be highlighted in red. If you see a minus number, that's how many reps they are behind the lead. That scoreboard, it'll kind of go away here once we get into the run, as it's a little bit harder to track the 300-meter run.
You can see China Cho not really pushing the pace on the run, just moving with purpose, but it's not rushed at all. And I think that's a great strategy here in this event.
Brista Mayfield, first one out of the stadium. She is ahead positionally of China Cho. E. Church will be 3rd, but they are scattered across the field, as it was Cho with the fastest first round. A lot more grouping here on the first heat for the women than we saw on the men's side. Men's side was really spread out even after just the first round. This one got a little bit of pack racing going on, and something that might come into play is the width of that tunnel to go in and out of the stadium if they stay grouped like they are in the middle of the field. Cho and Church are in lanes next to each other in the center of the field. It's going to be Cho to the bike first, Church in second, Mayfield in 3rd, as they level out the run on the way back in. Top three all in the shot. It's Brista Mayfield on the left, blue sports bra for E. Church, and the white headband for China Cho on the far right side of the screen.
And what I'm looking at, Brandon, they're all doing about the same tempo, the same cadence or RPM. So to me, it doesn't look like they're ready to push the pace yet. They know that they've got several rounds to follow. So this still looks like they're gaming it a little bit here. Probably smart, because you could blow yourself up.
They might have learned from men's heat number one with Tim Paulson sitting in the middle of the pack for much of the way. Made that huge jump from fourth to first in the final run because of efficiency on the bike in the last round. First off the bike will be China Cho, E. Church in second, Brista Mayfield in third. And they've got a pretty solid lead over the rest of the field here in heat number one. In fact, just now, Whitney Yolin has made her way off the bike in fourth. And Camilla Solomonson-Hellman makes her way off the bike in fifth. So it is a pretty lengthy advantage for the top three over the rest of the field.
You can see that hand over hand pull. It's not really overtaxing, especially consider what we did last night, Brandon, with chest to bar pull-ups, snatching, and bar muscle-ups. It was a lot of pulling. So this event is designed not so much to be a test of pulling power, it's really designed to be a test of your cardiorespiratory endurance.
Only about 6 seconds separating first from third. To go back to fourth place, you're looking at more about 17 seconds. So it is a healthy lead for the top three, especially your top two, both out of the West Regional, China Cho and E. Church.
I think what Church is doing there is really smart. She's keeping Cho very close, just stride for stride. Stay close with the leader. That's what we saw with the early men's heat, where Tim Paulson just stayed close enough to the leaders, knowing full well that when he got onto the bike at round 5, he was going to smash the bike and try to take over.
Church almost looked like she was kind of teasing, maybe trying to pass Cho on the outside going into this turn. You think that was a legit idea that she had, maybe trying to see if she can make that, or was she just trying to time it for a later round?
Probably a little bit of both. I think it also puts some pressure on Cho. I mean, Cho is a seasoned veteran, so I don't know how effective she'll be by that, but it's probably a little bit of gamesmanship there.
Simultaneously getting onto the assault bike for the third round of 15 calories. Church on the left, Cho on the right, and they've stuck together really since the beginning.
You can see the ladies using their upper body, trying to rotate those shoulders, push and pull, use the big muscles in the lats, and then try to extend themselves out. Take some of the pressure off the lower body. And then anybody who's ever been on an assault bike in a multi-round event, they know how bad that can be, how uncomfortable it is, and how those calories just seem to sit still.
Feels like we're seeing a lot more pacing here on the women's side of this event than we saw on the men's side a little bit ago.
Yeah, it looks much more controlled than some of the men. I think that, like, we watched Freddie come out pretty hot, and each bike was a little bit quicker than the last.
China Cho again quicker on the bike. She's opened up a 4.4 second lead over Church in second. As your two West Regional athletes have pulled away from the rest of the field, including Brista Mayfield, who's fallen back in that third position. 153-pound sled, about 70 kilos. They're dragging it 44 feet each round. New third-place athlete, you see her entering the screen, is Camilla Solomonson-Hellman. She'll be in third, Yelin in fourth, Mayfield down to fifth, but the leader continues to be China Cho, who will be 5.5 seconds ahead of Church in second.
It seems to me, Brandon, like China Cho is picking up her pace. The cadence on the run seems a little bit quicker. I'm timing her runs just to see how she does, but it looks like she's got a little bit more urgency in her step now.
On average in the first 3 rounds, Church about 1 to 1.5 seconds quicker. We'll see if she can maintain that here. She's going to need to pick up the pace on the run because she's lost ground when it comes to the bike and the sled. Just past the halfway point in the 18-minute time cap as we're in round number 4 of 300 meters on the run, as is being shown by the leaders at this point. 15 calories on the assault bike and a 44-foot sled pull with 153 pounds. It's China Cho continuing to lead the way. She makes her way back into the stadium at the North Park.
And round after round, China's been quicker on the bike, so let's see if she can keep that pace going. Church has to run a little bit further, I believe, to come into the park. So Cho's going to get on that bike a second or two early, and then round after round, she's been getting off the bike at least 4 or 5 seconds early.
5-second lead holds for China Cho on the run. And the one spot where Church needed to make up some ground was on the run. She was unable to do so, but we'll see if she can make a charge on the bike here in the final couple of rounds. As Camilla Solomon-Hellman, she's running by the background. She's into third and starting to make up a little bit of ground herself.
But you can see she's breathing heavy, working hard. She's trying to get that upper body involved. And we mentioned that she's got that soccer background, so she's got the set of lungs. Now she's going to need to start pushing. As you get into round 4 and round 5, the sense of urgency goes up. You need to start moving faster and faster.
Earlier we highlighted China Cho in part because of her experience on Sunday at the CrossFit Games. She's trying to hold off a couple of rookies behind her in second and third with Church and Solomon-Hellman. Judge's hand up for the top 2, make it the top 3. And Church is slowing considerably on the bike as China Cho is on the run towards the sled pull. 6.5 seconds the difference, so Cho has gained a second over the run and the bike. Despite this being a high-intensity event and it's designed to make these athletes uncomfortable, China Cho seems to be bucking that trend. She seems real calm in this event at this point.
I was just going to say the same thing, is that her facial expressions, the way she was moving in that transition there, she looks very comfortable.
Now, one thing that might be an issue, look at how tangled that rope is for China Cho. It's not going to be an issue this round. She might have to unravel that a little bit before it gets tangled on the final run. We'll have to keep an eye on that as Church continuing to hold on to second place. Still within striking distance of Cho, as in third, it's Camilla Solomon-Hellman. She's about a third of the way through her 4th sled pull of 5.
Brandon, I love this test. I think it's Coach Glassman said in his 10 elements of fitness that cardiorespiratory endurance, the ability to move and gather oxygen around your system, your body, is so important. It's one of those 10 elements of fitness, and that's what this test is all about.
Basically, since the beginning, it's been China Cho in first, Church in second, and Church is putting on a charge here on this run, as it was a 6.5 second interval not too long ago, and that's only going to be down to about 2 seconds at this point.
She's going to have to dig deep. Once they get on the bike, she's going to have to dig really deep to try to beat China Cho. I don't think she's gotten off the bike first once, so this is going to be really hard for her.
Back into the stadium for the final time. It's Cho out in front, Church in second. It's swimmer versus track and field in terms of athletic background. We saw Tim Paulson 1 heat ago on the men's side go from 4th to 1st to steal the win because of his efficiency on the assault bike. We'll see if Church can pull off a similar strategy. Both continuing the pace, which really has been that same pace they've had all 5 rounds.
I mean, we're splitting hairs, but if I'm looking side by side just at facial expressions, I think China Cho has the advantage here. It looks like she's managing the pain better.
Judge's hand will go up when they hit the final 5 calories of 15 here in the final round of the assault bike portion of this triplet, and it's near simultaneous for Cho and Church. Cho lets go of the handles a little bit. I'm not sure if that's a sign of discomfort or if she just lost her grip for a moment. A 2-second lead for Cho getting to the assault bike. 1 calorie remains for Cho. Should be 1 calorie for Church. It's simultaneously off the bike and down the field. And Church is going to be running at a quicker pace to get to the sled. Keep in mind they pulled it 44 feet every single round. It's 176 feet they've got to run, so that's part of this event as well. Sled has to touch the blue in the end zone, and then the athlete has to cross the finish line. And E. Church is pulling a good impersonation of Tim Paulson, and she's going to pull out in front late if she can hold off China Cho. Sleds are moving about the same time, and it'll be the correctional officer, E. Church, taking the heat at 15:31. China Cho in second after leading for about 98% of this event. And it'll be a 5-second differential, 1 and 2 in the end. Camilla Solomonson-Hellman holding the 3rd position. Nobody else has gotten to the sled just yet. In fact, Whitney Yulin is the only other athlete off their bike, and now make that 2 more with Brista Mayfield. This is a violent pull every time for Solomonson-Hellman. She'll come across the line just past the 16-minute mark. Whitney Yulin about a 25-30 foot advantage on Brista Mayfield. The 12th state CrossFit athlete will be our 4th finisher. Mayfield looking to round out the top 5. Chloe Gauvin-David, her accidentally tripped the scoring timer. And Mayfield will be our 5th place athlete. We've got a pack of 5 athletes all within a few feet of each other making their way down the field as Gauvin-David finishes in 6th.
Brandon, we've got just about a minute to go. If you're any of these athletes coming down in the last minute, it's Sunday. You need to move your butt. You got to get the work done and get underneath that time cap.
3rd sled moving from the top is Ake Gilvedottir, who looks to be passing or attempting to pass about 4 athletes. And as she likes to call it, the tiny human project might come into play. She only gets in just behind Jen Smith by fractions of a second. It's Smith in 8th, Gilvedottir in 9th, Meredith Root 10th, Courtney Haley 11th. As Gilvedottir picked up about 4 spots in that sled pull at the end. Lauren Fisher, Danny Horan, Paige Semenza, our next finishers, as we're 20 seconds away from the 18-minute time cap. And hate to say it, but bikes seem to be kryptonite for Stephanie Chung. We saw her with that accident in the event, the opening event on the crit. And the assault bike not doing her any favors either. She's one of 2 athletes left on the field. Brenda Castro, the other. All that was left for her was the sled pull. But it's E. Church leading the way with 1 heat left for the ladies at 15 minutes, 31 seconds. As we have heat 2 for the men and the women coming up shortly here at the North Park as we continue the coverage in event number 12 of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games.